Once upon a time, in a beautiful land blessed with sunshine and laughter, there was a small village nestled between rolling hills and clear rivers. The village was home to King Chima, a ruler loved by all for his wisdom and kindness. His heart was as big as the kingdom he ruled, and he always made sure his people were happy and safe. King Chima had a large family, 2 wives, Queen Uli and Queen Uchi, and 5 children. Queen Uli had given him 3 daughters, Amma, Leela, and Tina, all 3 of whom were as wild and free-spirited as the land they lived in. They ran barefoot through the village, their laughter echoing in the air as they played by the river. Their dresses were often dirty, their hair in a tangled mess, but none of it mattered. The princesses found joy in exploring the world around them, without the care of what was expected of royalty. They didn't care for proper behavior or the strict rules of palace life. They just wanted to be themselves. But Queen Uli often worried about her daughter's unruly behavior. "You are princesses," she would say, her voice gentle but firm. "You must act with grace and dignity. You must be the example for others to follow." But the princesses would giggle and run off, their hearts too free to be tied down by expectations. They didn't mind what others thought. They simply wanted to experience life as it came. As the years passed, the princesses grew into beautiful young women, and their wild spirits remained unchanged. They were known for their playful hearts, and although many in the village admired their carefree nature, others whispered that they were too wild. "Why can't they be more like their sisters?" people would murmur. "They are too foolish, too free." But the princesses didn't mind. They believed that being true to oneself was far more important than acting like royalty. They were determined to live life on their own terms. Then, the time came for the village's grand festival, which was held every year in honor of the princesses' brothers, who were now of age to find wives. The festival was a sight to behold, colorful decorations, music filling the air, and the smell of delicious food. Beautiful girls from all over the land came to show off their dancing skills, hoping to catch the eye of one of the princes. It was a festival where young women dreamed of marrying into royalty. But the princesses watched from a window in the palace, their hearts uninterested in the spectacle below. They saw the men who came with gifts and promises of riches, but they weren't moved. The princesses didn't want a love that could be bought with gold, or one that was based on fleeting attraction. They wanted something deeper, a love that would see beyond their titles, a love that would understand them for who they truly were. When men came to ask for their hands, the princesses found reasons to refuse them. "He is too proud," one of them would say. "His gold cannot buy love," another would sigh. And when a wealthy man from a faraway village came with an abundance of gifts, the princesses only splashed water on him, laughing as they sent him away. "I want to marry all 3 of you," the man had said, thinking the princesses were mere prizes to be won. "You will make a fine addition to my 7 wives." The villagers whispered, "How foolish they are, turning away all these rich, powerful men." But the princesses were unfazed. "We will marry when we find true love," they said, their eyes sparkling with belief. The villagers shook their heads, thinking the princesses would never find what they sought. As the festival ended, the princesses' parents, King Chima and Queen Uli, were both puzzled and saddened by their daughters' refusals. "Why won't you marry?" they asked. "Your brothers are ready to take their wives. You are the eldest. Why do you not wish to marry?" The princesses only smiled and replied, "When we find true love, we will know." The princesses continued to live their lives in their wild and free way, watching the seasons change around them. They saw their brothers marry beautiful women, and a part of them wondered if it was finally time to open their hearts to love. But it had to be true love, something deeper than what was seen on the surface. One evening, after months of quiet reflection, the princesses approached their father with a new request. "Father," they said, their voices filled with hope, "we want a festival of our own, a festival where men can show us their talents, their skills, their hearts. We do not want a love that is based on wealth or strength. We want to find true love, one that sees us for who we are." King Chima was taken aback. "This is not part of the tradition of the land," he said, frowning. "But perhaps this is your way of finding love." He agreed to their request, though with hesitation, and the village began preparing for the new festival. As the news spread, Men from across the land, as well as distant villages, began preparing for the festival. They polished their skills, rehearsed their performances, and dressed in their finest clothes. The village was alive with anticipation. Musicians tuned their instruments, chefs prepared feasts, and tailors crafted beautiful garments. This was going to be a festival like no other. The princesses watched from their windows as the village transformed. They saw the eager faces of the suitors, the excitement in the eyes of the villagers. Despite the spectacle, the princesses remained focused on what they truly wanted. A love that saw beyond wealth and power, one that understood them as people, not as titles. The day of the festival arrived, and the village square was filled with energy. The sun shone brightly, casting golden light across the land. Men came, each dressed in his finest, each hoping to impress the princesses with his strength, his skills, or his wealth. Some showed off their muscles, while others flaunted their gold and fine clothes. But the princesses stood quietly, their eyes sparkling with mischief. They had prepared a challenge. "To win our hearts," they said, their voices clear, "you must guess our real names, our true names." A hush fell over the crowd. The suitors were stunned. How could they guess the princesses' names? They only knew them by their titles. Murmurs spread through the crowd, but the princesses stood firm. This was their test, their challenge. They wanted to see who would look beyond the surface and seek to truly know them. The festival continued, but the suitors were confused. How could they win the princesses' hearts when the challenge seemed impossible? Among the many suitors was Okan, a man known in the village for his drunken ways. Most saw him as a fool, someone with no prospects, but Okan was different. Beneath his often careless behavior, there was a mind that saw things others overlooked. When he heard about the princess's challenge, something stirred within him. Why not me, he thought. Why can't I find their hearts? Day after day, Okan followed the princesses, not too close, but just enough to observe. He watched them laugh, play, and care for one another with deep love and respect. He learned their habits, their mannerisms, and their secret language. He saw beyond their crowns and the expectations of royalty. One day, as the princesses wandered near the edge of the forest, the youngest princess, Tina, fell into a hidden pit. Her laughter turned to cries of fear. "Help! Help me!" she called out, panic rising in her voice. Okan, hidden behind a bush, watched as the other two princesses rushed to her aid. "Amma," cried one, "Leela, help me." The names fell from their lips like precious jewels. In that moment, Okan knew their names. He had seen something far more important than wealth or beauty. He had seen love, compassion, and a connection that went beyond the surface. With newfound resolve, Okan stepped out from his hiding place and declared to the village, "I know their names, Amma, Leela, and Tina." The crowd was stunned. Okan, the village fool, had done what none of the rich suitors had been able to do. He had uncovered the secret that lay at the heart of the princess's challenge. The village was silent, and the princesses turned to him with wide eyes. "You have done it," said King Chima, his voice filled with admiration. But Okan had one more revelation. "I am not just a village drunkard," he said, his voice steady and strong. "I am Prince Okan from a neighboring kingdom. I came to learn about the hearts of your daughters not as a suitor but in disguise." The village gasped, shocked by the revelation. Okan was a prince all along. The princesses smiled at Okan, their hearts swelling with respect. He had shown them something no other suitor had, the wisdom to look beyond appearances and see the true worth of a person. King Chima, moved by Okan's actions and the connection between him and his daughters, agreed to the marriage. The village celebrated with joy, and the wedding was unlike any other. The princesses, once thought foolish, stood proudly by Prince Okan's side, their hearts united in love and respect. The village, too, had learned an important lesson. True love is not about titles or appearances, but about understanding, patience, and seeing the true heart of a person.